We have breaking news this evening out of Grindavik as the club announced the sale of defender Bernd Daphne to Barcelona for £11.5 million. Now, manager Aussie Villain had this to say just moments ago. Yeah, look, I mean, in hindsight, we definitely overpaid for Daffy, so to end up making a profit on him is, good old Barcelona. Cheers, lads. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Grindavik on The Impossible Dream. It is Season 13, Episode 4. Today we begin our Champions League campaign. Riga FC is our first opponent. The Latvian champions knocked out Ludogorets in the first qualifying round, so obviously not completely Muppets, but we should be able to beat them. But the big, we'll have the second leg of that, or the first leg of the next tie as well, will be the other game today. But the news is that Daphne has been sold to Barcelona. Now, we paid, in hindsight, massively overpaid for him. It was that summer, of course, where we had like 50 million to spend, and we've all been there, we've all done it, where you just think suddenly that the laws of finance don't appeal to you, and you can do whatever you want, and we can't. So 50% sell on as well. Now this, I think, could be the key here. We've ended up getting $500,000 profit. We paid 11 million for him, and we've got 11.5 back. But I don't think, and he signed as a squad player, I don't think he's good enough to be a Barcelona regular. He's 21. There is still a little bit of room for improvement there. But what I do think is that, say, a mid-table Premier League side might come in for him and pay 20 or so million for him. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that down the line, a season or 2, 3, that we will get another 10 million plus to add on to the transfer for this as well. So yeah, he was a good player. He was someone that I was thinking of using in Europe this year, but ultimately we've got enough central defenders that we can get through. I don't think it's going to be a problem for us. Now, the eagle eye amongst you would have seen here as well that Milosevic is now happy to stay. The ever moving target that is who's happy and who's not. Beyonce and Volpez are the two that are currently asking to leave and quite unhappy. It's not the end of the world, but I'd be willing to lose Beyonce because we're sort of pigeonholing him in out of position anyway. Volpez, I do not want to lose, so hopefully he will. He will come around. But you'll see here if it is. I'll hopefully have zoomed in and you can see a little bit easily. Most players disagree, which I think means they agree with me. I'm hoping anyway, because otherwise Volpez is going to be a big problem, and as will Beyonce. But yeah, well, we'll see what happens down the line, but that is where we're at there. Now, in terms of finances, I should probably update you on that. It's looking a lot better now. 14 million in the bank. 20 million we have to spend if we want to, and in terms of wage budgets, you see their committed spending's a little bit higher. We've got some contract extensions. Krusliak wanted an extension to stay, and there was maybe somebody else as well. They're not huge not huge increases though, so that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of room to spend in terms of wages, but wages is, I think, what's let us down in terms of the losses that we've got. But anyway, that is all by the by. We've got 2 games to catch you up on. The first of the games in the league was against Thor. We took the lead when Milosevic slipped in Bautenson. And Giacchini crossed for Bautenson to get his second before half-time. Jonsson bent in our third. Before Milosevic put Bautenson's hat-trick on a plate. Milosevic was the provider again for Sima to make it 5-0. And Sima's second made it 6. So this really was very, very easy for us, unfortunately. 70% possession, 33 shots on goal. They mustered just the one on target. Bautenson hat-trick. Milosevic was on fire, just playing with them, to be honestly. And yeah, it was Daphne's, I think, his last game. This one. I think it was after this we agreed to sell him. But anyway, very, very nicely done. The second game was the Kit Cash Derby against Grotta. Ormarkson played in Krusliak to give us the lead. And Unnison made it 2-0 at half-time. Bautenson got our third. Before we crossed for Skojan to make it 4-0. So again, just far too good for them. Again, 33 shots at goal, 14 on target, 4 in the back of the net. And this was Ormarkson's 100th league appearance for the club. He has been such an unsung hero for us. He really has been. He's been good enough that we haven't had to sort of buy, an attacking midfielder or a creative midfielder to sort of to be back up for the league and things like that. Technically, is he the greatest? I mean, clearly not, but he's got those 4 key attributes that you want from your midfielder, or an attacking one anyway. He's got them in double digits. Mentally, he is quite good, and physically, he's good enough. 100 games in the league, 18 goals, and yeah, he's just been a very, very important part of this whole series pretty much. He's been in it since, when did he come in? 2024, so that would be the second youth intake. So yeah, very, 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 very happy for him. Very, very pleased with him. And yeah, that was that. So the league table, if we need to update it, plus 36 goal difference, 34 points, and 11 wins from our 12 games. So that is all very, very nice indeed. But Champions League football, let's go play some European opposition. And we are expecting a 4-2-3-1 from Riga. But in truth, we probably don't know exactly what we're going to get at all. First game is away from home. And I had completely forgotten Volpez and Giacchini are both suspended from last season. Now I had played Weir and Juleson in the last game, not realizing that. You'll see a bid in for Juleson. He wants to explore his options at the end of his contract. So I said, well, I might as well just sell you now, mate, because I'm not going to lose out on a couple of million for a backup right back. So yeah, he will in all likelihood be off. And in terms of who is going to sort of be the instant replacements for Daphne, Nurison is back. He, of course, was on loan last season at Parma in Serie A, so he's back. He is sort of the first choice fill-in, and of course, Plemenos, who he signed as well. He was supposed to be Degan's replacement. He can obviously just as easily be Daffy's replacement. So yeah, that is what's happened there. And of course, Unison is very, very capable as well. Though ideally, we wouldn't want him playing against the big boys in Europe. So it is Puol in goal. We are Nurison, Degan, and Juleson. It sounds like Nurofen, doesn't it? Maybe I should rename him. It is Jonsson, Raul, and Bakali in midfield. Milosevic, Beyonce, and Sema gets to start up front. And we will, in all likelihood, see for the first time Felix Carlson. He's not registered right now in the league squad. We brought him in for Europe. So yeah, we will probably get a little bit of match sharpness in those legs of his at some point, assuming this game's going well. Okay, so we can see the team sheets there. We're not going to recognize any names from them, I wouldn't have thought. And what do we want to say to this? Let's just go out there and relax. What we do want to do is put this to bed in the first leg. We don't want to have to be coming back to show a second leg against this mob. And yeah, now they've beat Ludogorets. I think it was 2-1 on now. You get 1-1 in Bulgaria and then 1-0 in Riga in Latvia here. So yeah, they're obviously a solid enough team. We'll see how we go on that front. There was something else I wanted to mention as well. In terms of squad registration, I think because we've sold off a few players that were sort of club registered, we're just struggling to register everybody right now. So for example, Obot. Not registered in the league or the Europe, so I figured, well, we might as well just sell him then, because he doesn't fit in. Ideally, I'd pick him ahead of Jofferson in, well, certainly in the European squad, but we need Jofferson for the domestic numbers. So, yeah, we just need to, ideally, try and find a couple of Icelandic players, to be honest, to come in. And that is the big downside to Juleson leaving, is that we can replace him in the squad in terms of a right back, and maybe in hindsight, selling a Stadi is looking a little bit silly now because he was club trained. As we've got Milosevic in here. Milosevic can't beat the goalkeeper. So if I had my time again, as I often wish I could do, then maybe it would be a case of not selling a Stadi and selling Juleson instead. But yeah, so we'll just have to make do. We might, yeah, we're just struggling a little bit to get players registered. I'm hoping we will have a new right back in sooner rather than later. We've been scouting, we've got some bids in, so it should be okay. What I don't want to do, obviously, is sign a right back before the Juleson one goes through, but he wants to leave, essentially. So I imagine if Lazio, it's the team that has the best bid in for him so far, then I imagine he's not going to say no to that. As there's a good ball to find Beyonce in a little bit of space. Oh, he's gone down. Beyonce's beaten his man, and he's just pulled him down from behind. An incredibly stupid piece of defending. Can Wendell Sema give us the lead? First choice up front for this one, and sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. He is a very good penalty taker. He's 9th of the season, but he does take, when he's on the field, he seems to take penalties, and he just has a really good knack of sending the goalkeeper the wrong way. And that's a very nice trick to have up your sleeve, isn't it? Beyonce is looking hesitant. there's a part of me that thinks I had been trying Seema as a inside forward on the left, and he's done okay over there as well, because he can play with either foot. There was I always forget who does comments. I read them all, obviously, and I reply to all of them as long as I see them. And Beyonce, he's offside, isn't he? Is he onside? No, he's surely off. Do we have VAR for this? No, it doesn't look like we do. It was very cheeky from Beyonce, but yeah, he's definitely offside, and it was going wide anyway, so no harm, no foul there. But yeah, someone had predicted that Seema would become a Ballon d'Or winner. Maybe not necessarily with us, but with somebody, and he certainly is looking a little bit that way. To be honest, he just has that look about him where he just looks like he knows what's going on. All right, so we don't want to get complacent here. You can kind of see, I think, why that they kept the game close against Ludogorets, and perhaps you can see they nick a goal and the pressure's on then when they come back home. Of course, it's going to be more difficult for them coming to our place second up. Raul couldn't quite find Beyonce there, and Beyonce gets back to win it. And that is a ball forward. Puyol is there. And that should be the end of the danger. Let's see what happens here. This is more or less the way I see our strongest team right now, with the exception of the fullbacks. There's a good ball for Seema. If he's onside, he can't find the back of the net, though. Let's maybe just demand a little bit more here. And I'm wondering if what we might want to do is just lower the tempo down a little bit. And... yeah, just see, are we dominating? We are dominating possession. So let's maybe just do that and just probe away at them a little bit more than we are right now. The other thing with Beyonce looking like he's just generally annoyed out there. What we could do is we'll bring Kruzliak on up front and we'll switch Seema out onto that left-hand side as an inside forward, please, mate. And yeah, as I said, that has worked previously quite well. Bakali, again in Europe, not having a good... He did this last season too, did he not, if I remember correctly? So we might take him off and we'll get... where are you here? Felix Carlson on to make his first appearance for the club. And it is looking a little bit like we're going to have to come back and show this second leg. Carlson finds Weir in space. Weir lofts across in. Kruzliak is there, knocked down to Milosevic even. And... we keep possession. I mean, we've dominated the game, and it looks as though we've got this in hand. But there's a second goal. Is he onside? Milosevic takes it beautifully. And we have broken them down for the second time. There's a big part of me that thinks even though the game is not, or the tie is not dead, it feels like when we go back to Grindavik, this is going to be absolutely fun. It was Seema with the ball forward too, was it? He's just got a little bit of everything, does Wendell Seema. He's a very, very good player. And I think this year I'm going to try and maybe make sure he's starting more games than he's not. And if he can do that playing wide left, then perhaps we could look to just sell an unhappy Beyonce. I do like Beyonce, though. That's the thing. But... yeah, has he done that again? And Carlson, does he score that if he's a bit more match sharp? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We've got a little bit of time yet to make these decisions before the transfer window closes. But of course, we've got to essentially pick a European squad, because once we finalise our squad for the league phase, assuming we get there, we'll be in the league phase of some competition, presumably. Then that's it. We can't add any players to that, because by the time our transfer window reopens in February, the European transfer registration window is closed. So the team we start Europe with is the team we have to finish it with. So yeah, we've got to bear that in mind as well, as Jonsson brings possession under control. Raul, crossfield ball there for Weir. Seema's making a nice run, so is Carlson. Did he just hold on to the pass a little bit too long? Kruzliak. It was a block, was it? And that is that. Milosevic to take the corner. We are into stoppage time. It's a decent ball to the back post. Degen's header straight into the goalkeeper's hands. And we go again. A third goal is surely tie done. Degen is being very ambitious here. Beats his man as well. Oh, and Felix Carlson. But what about the assist from the centre-back? He's rolled his man on the edge of the penalty area, pulled it back across, and Carlson making his debut from the bench. Look at this from Degen. This is brilliant. Rolls the oh, that is absolutely class from a centre-back. A little bit of luck. Looks like the pullback was maybe for Seema. Deflection took it to Carlson, and Carlson didn't need a second invitation, did he? Can we make it 4? And we are over stoppage time. It is Kruzliak, and I think he's onside. It'll be the initial head up, and we have absolutely just run riot late on here, and what looked like it was going to be a very nervy second leg. 4-0 away from home. That's job done. And we should be cruising in to the third qualifying round at that point. Excellent work, boys. Seema did really well, didn't he? And I'm glad you've got to see him playing out there on that left-hand side. I think that might be the future for him. And if that's the case, then we might need to look at Mr. Beyonce here and just say, you weren't good enough, and perhaps you can go to Crystal Palace. So, youthful Riga come unstuck. Carlson scores on his debut, or however I say it's supposed to say that. I always say it wrong. That is one thing that has just massively got in my head about YouTube, is how I say debut. And because now I don't know what I say it right or wrong. It's just I'm really self-conscious about it. So well done, guys. You've got to me. All right, that is that. We'll be back for the first the first leg of the next qualifying round. Now I believe we know who we're playing in that, actually. So third qualifying round, we are playing Swiss champions Lugano. So we'd rather not be playing the Swiss champions at this point, but we've beaten Basel before, so we should have no problem against Lugano. Okay, welcome back. We are now getting ready to face Lugano in the third qualifying round, first leg. But a little bit to catch you up on. Our transfer window has closed, and left has gone Beyonce. He has gone to Watford. We got 4-point-something million. Well, I forget what the deal was now. 4.7 million. There might be some add-ons to come. Yeah, potentially up to 5.25. That was pretty much the best that we could get for him. Ultimately, he was unhappy, and he was a little bit annoying, to be honest. He was playing out of position, playing well, fairly well anyway, out of position, but I think I like Seema. Seema's been playing really well on that left-hand side, so I like him as our first choice, and we did get in a new second choice, and that is this guy, Harold Ertl. I think we would pronounce that, so I have to call him Steve. I think he was on from Bayern Munich. We signed him for 1.2 million. He was transfer listed there. They didn't want him. He can play off either foot. He's a mercenary, which isn't great, but good flair, good technique, not too bad. Physically, can cross dribble, decent free kick taking. I think as far as someone that's an option on that left hand side, then this guy's not bad, and being relatively speaking so cheap, willing to come as a squad player, it just means that down the line, if we were to look to move him on, we would likely do so at a profit. His career to date, he has started off at Dortmund. We've had him shortlisted for a long time, and we never really had the chance to pick him up. He moved, you can see, between Munich and Dortmund, back and forth. He was highly rated. I think just lack of game time as much as anything is what sort of lessened his potential. But he spent last season on loan in Serie B, played okay, averaging just below 7, 1.3. It was not 1.2. I think it's a little bit of a bargain, and like I say, down the line, we can probably move him on at a profit. Now, we did make one other signing, and that is this guy, Florian Meister. Now, we signed him to replace Juleson, who I cancelled that transfer. Juleson is staying. Ultimately, I decided with Juleson that we need him in the squad because he's a good right back, and he is Icelandic, so he helps with that, meeting that requirement in Europe. But I'd already agreed to sign this guy. I could have backed out of the deal, but I didn't. The main reason for that was what we got him for. Again, you can see very solid defender. Maybe not the best getting forward, but good anticipation, concentration, decisions, marking, tackling. It's all fairly decent. And again, when you see how much we paid for him, it was an absolute steal. 40 grand. I wasn't going to cancel that. That's just an absolutely amazing deal for us, for someone that is a very solid defender. We can play him in Europe if we wanted to, and it would be fine. If Juleson leaves down the road, he still wants to leave at the end of his contract, so we might end up losing him for nothing. But I thought it was worth doing that, and to give us time to find a replacement that is Icelandic, and we might already have that replacement in the squad. They just need a little bit of time to develop. So yeah, let me know what you think of the two new boys. I mean, 40 grand for this guy is an absolute steal. So that's absolutely wonderful. Now, we've got 3 games to catch you up on. The first of those, as I frantically searched my notes, was against Vella in the league. So let's go see how we did against them. Havertz chipped the ball onto Boutenson's head to open the scoring. And Baltinson got our second before half-time, before completing his hat-trick in the second half. And adding a fourth late on. So dominated the game as you would expect us to do. 4 goals from Baltinson, 2 in each half, and everybody else was just a nice little support show. Plemenos made his first appearance I think it was his first appearance anyway. He played at the back in this one. We did more or less rotate the European squad out to make sure they were fit for the second leg against Riga. It was fairly comfortable, but you never know what could happen in a game of football. So let's see what happened in the second leg. Giacchini crossed for Milosevic to put us ahead. It was Giacchini again who crossed for Kruzliak for our second. And Raul slipped in Milosevic to make it 3-0 on the night. Before Jonsson found Milosevic for his hat-trick. And Karlsson found Kruzliak to make it 5. Degen got our 6th. And Kruzliak's hat-trick made it 7-0. Milosevic crossed for Sima to make it 8. And Kruzliak made it 9-0 at half-time. Sima got number 10. But Riga pulled one back. So annoying to concede a goal at the end there. We had made a sub. You'll notice Plemenos was on the field. I think Degen was the one that went off. And it was Plemenos that got caught out. So a little bit disappointing. But ultimately, absolutely destroyed them. 4 from Kruzliak, 3 from Milosevic, 2 from Sima. And I forget who else got the goals. Is that 10? Must be getting close. 7 at 9. So who got the other one? Oh, Degen, wasn't it? Anyway, really, really good. So we like to see that. And the final game to catch you up on was against FH. Havertz found Allmarkson to put us ahead. Baltinson's back heel left Kosh unmarked to make it 2-0. And Fredriksson's memorable first Grindavik goal made it 3-0 at half-time. Before Meister added a stunning debut goal for our 4th. So, really, really good performance this one from us. Ertel made his debut in this one along with Meister. Meester might be. Yeah, I mean, this was, again, a completely rotated side. Fredriksson playing in midfield did really well. That's one of the youngsters that we've had come through the academy. And Medina off the bench also had a nice role to play. Fredriksson, just as a refresher, this is him here, 18-year-old defensive midfielder, as it seems like every single one of our youth academy graduates are these days. But yeah, he's a good prospect, and he did really well in this one as well. We don't need to check in on the league because it's an absolute shambles. We are 12 points clear at the moment. I think 14 games played. So yeah, absolutely no concerns there. But it is Lugano. Now, not 100% sure what we're going to get from them. A 4-2-3-1. They have not had to play a game yet. They sort of got to buy into this round. So the team we're sending out, it is Puol in goal. It is Giacchini, Newison, Degen and Volpez, Johnson, Raul and Bakali, Milosevic, Sima as the inside forward, Kruzliak as the striker. Pavas has got a bit of a knock, does he? Okay, so we won't have him on the bench. We can bring Gisarasen to cover that defensive midfield position. And yeah, there we go. Everything is looking pretty good. All right, so we can see the team sheets there. I don't recognize any names. I didn't actually check their squad, which is probably a big oversight on my part. Home form's important, so let's make this count. It's another one of these. I don't think we'll put 10 past them. I think they're going to be a little bit better than Riga, but maybe we could go for 6 or 7. All right, and here we go. Now, we're not too far away from having this new stand being completed. It was supposed to be in August at some point, which we are now in, of course. I shouldn't say of course, but if you've noticed the date, we are in... We've got little Champions League stuff up on our stand there. Look at that. That's cool. Have our stands always had a roof like that? I hope so. Anyway, I like our stadium. Our stadium's really starting to look good, isn't it? This is, of course, the Fausto Godini stand. We haven't really named the other stands. If we were to name, we'd have to have a Baltinson stand, probably, wouldn't we? Who would we have? We've got a Godini stand, obviously. We've got one end, and then the other side, and then we'll have the new end as well. Yeah, that's a question for the comments. What are we naming our stands? Now, they've come out a little bit differently to what we're expecting, so we'll need to change the marking assignments. Oh, too late. We've got a highlight. Let's hope we're not dragged out of position. As Degen wins the header. Jonsson for Carly. Down there for Sima. Back for Jonsson. We get it wide for Giacchini. And we go back again. This time, Newison gets it wide for Volpez. Milosevic making a run. We find him. Pull it back. Pull it back. Oh, we try. Oh, it's a defensive howler. Kruzliak heads it in. The defender, to be 100% fair to him, he had to sweep it away. But all he's done is just put it on Kruzliak's head. It was one of those horrible moments as a defender where you don't really... Oh, no, he hasn't. Never mind. It's a cross. What did I see? And Kruzliak just nodded it down. It's a really, really nicely worked goal. So we go 1-0 up. Now, I've still got to change these marking assignments. All right, so that is now done. And we've got a corner. Milosevic to take. Good one. Oh, it's a penalty, is it? It is. And it will be Sima that will step forward to take it. And he has been good from the spot. Is that going to continue here? Oh, it is. Sima is an absolute god. And, well, we've made the decision I've made the decision this season that he's going to play somewhere. We've sold Beyonce because he's basically in his way, and he is just doing a very, very good job of things right now. We saw last year Kruzliak in Europe, for the most part, can get the job done. Bautinson play him in the league. He'll score goals for fun. And we've still got Skojan, of course, who can come in and fill in where necessary, as, oh, Giacchini won it back beautifully. And then just kind of gave it straight back to them. Oh, it's a horrible pass. Milosevic pounces. Milosevic! That was very close, wasn't it? But 2-0 it remains. Raul over a free kick. It's a good one. Oh, it's Degen. Is he onside? The referee hasn't moved, which is slightly concerning, but I think it is going to count. And we are 3-0 up inside half an hour. And was it Newison that got who got the knockdown? It was Newison, I think. Or was it Jonsson? I think I said Jonsson in the commentary. Either way, a really nicely worked set piece. It is 3-0 in the first half. And if this continues, then once again, we will not need to be showing the second leg. Next qualifying round, of course, is the playoff. And then we are into the league phase. So that is definitely where we need to be. As Bakali threads one through there. Sima for Newison. Jonsson. Raul's in a decent spot. He's chipped it in from absolutely no angle. And Kruzliak, we've somehow managed to score there. It was... it was a cross, but it's not really a cross, if you know what I mean. It's like a straight cross. He's chipped it in, and somehow Kruzliak has beaten not only the defender, but also the goalkeeper. That is a stunning piece of striking. And with his head as well. Hopefully, this season, Kruzliak will get the goals when we need them in Europe as well, not just fill his boots against weaker opposition. Raul now from a free kick, and again, that's not far away. And we are in first half stoppage time. And 4-0 is a very nice place to be in first half stoppage time. We need to not get complacent here. We are Bakali is looking complacent. Bakali is just ever so slightly starting to annoy me. He's got a lot of annoying that he can do before I start actually taking it out on him and consider not playing him. But he is nonetheless frustrating me at times. I think he does have the trait that he doesn't necessarily enjoy big games. So Coulson might be one that we need to maybe start to play in Europe, as Raul is getting closer, isn't he? Oh, and that is just missed. And that was almost an own goal, I think. Milosevic now over a free kick. Chips it to the back post. It is away. Bakali will pick it up. Bakali. Oh, he's gone down. It's a bit of a silly tackle, really. And we'll get another free kick. Milosevic to take it. Good ball to the back post. Degen does not miss those. His 5th of the season, 2 for the night, and it is 5-0. We really can put away these teams in Europe now, can't we? We have had some contract extensions that have been signed as well. If I'd been thinking, I would have written down who it was. It's one of those at the time, like, oh, I remember to say that, and then obviously here we are. I don't remember. Has Kruzliak got a hat trick yet? No. I wouldn't mind getting Ertel on to give you guys a look at him. So maybe we'll do this change. We'll bring Coulson on for Bakali, and we'll bring Ertel on for Sima, who has done his job. Actually, we need to change the position first, and then we can substitute Ertel on. And yeah, as I said before, I don't think Ertel is like a long-term, massively amazing prospect that is going to change the club forever. But I do think, as sort of a Moneyball signing, I guess, is the best way to describe it. I think he works quite well for what we need him to do. We just need him to be a backup for Sima right now. And he has the ability to do that. I've got to remember to call him... He's definitely going to be called Steve, though, isn't he? If you don't know Steve Urkel, that's probably because you were not born in the 70s or 80s. Volpez with a cross in. Oh, and Kruzliak has his hat-trick. Now, do I have Skogan on the bench? I do. Let's bring him on for some game time, as it is now 6-0. We will not be showing the second leg. We'll come back for the playoff, basically, at this point. Another cracking header from Kruzliak. And is there anything else we want to do? The one player that is still unhappy that I'd like to change that is Volpez. There's not much we can do. Juleson was upset that I cancelled his transfer to Roma. That's controversial. To Lazio. But I dare say he will get over that and just leave us on a free. I mean, it's all the ball's in his court in that sense. Here we go with Ertel. He's trying to play in Skogan. Can't quite do it. Now, Skogan needs a goal here to get a match rating to help his development. So if we could set him up, that'd be good. Ertel is not quite there. Newerson for Giacchini. Back to Newerson. Carlson. This is nice play. This is nice. Skogel's chance, and he's got his goal. His 5th of the season. And it is 7-0 against the Swiss champions. We really, really are, at home, a very, very good side. Carlson is looking increasingly good as well. I don't know if we had an option to sign him or not. If we do, it's big money, as it tends to be when they give you that option. So, probably not something we'll be doing. But, yeah, we'll see. If he's brilliant and we have the money, then maybe we will. Raul, ball forward from Milosevic, back in for Skol. Is that a penalty? Oh, it was from behind, but benefit of the doubt, I suppose. At 7-0, it's unlikely to make a difference. Carlson, look at Raul. Raul and Johnson are in so much space. Raul takes his time. Oh, I thought it was going in. It's a good save, to be fair, but it would have been a goal of the season contender. We're over the allotted 3 minutes. Milosevic chips it in, and that is surely that. And that is indeed that. So 7-0. An absolutely stunning performance. That's 17 goals we've scored at home in 2 games of Champions League football. Add, what was it, the 4 in. So we've got 21. Manchester City's record that we are continuing to chase every year is 49. So 7th heaven for Grindavik. Kruzliak with a hat-trick. And it is just all looking very, very nice indeed, isn't it? Now, we will be back next time for the playoff. Have we got that penciled in yet? No, we haven't. So it'll be the playoff and possibly also the Gags in a semi-final. I forget what happened last season with this, if it kind of worked out that we could do it or not in the same episode. But anyway, that's what we'll be doing. I'm assuming we're not going to blow a 7-goal lead in Switzerland. And if we do, series is cancelled. I'll see you next time, guys. Take care.